Hi, Connie. I decided to make this recording for you because I think it'll be easier for me to explain how to do a lesson plan this way than to try to write everything out. So here's the lesson plan template. Here you picked your subject matter, which is language arts, and you picked your goal. What you want to also consider what the concepts are, and you'll get your concepts from your standards, which will tell you things like word analysis or fluency or systematic vocabulary development. So you would say that the students are going to um, learn about word analysis by identifying titles in reading or whatever it happens to be. You just make a brief statement here. Then you're going to add your standards. You have way too many standards here. So this is all I need for you to do is when you are designing a lesson, I want you to think about a lesson as a manageable chunk. It's only like for especially for kindergartners, 5 maybe at the outside 10 minutes. So you just pick a standard. So maybe you are doing the English language arts grade 1. So let's look at first grade. Still, you're looking at a 5 to 10 minute lesson, and that they're going to be doing reading, and that they're going to identify the title and author of a reading selection, and that's all they're going to do in this lesson. So you're going to design your lesson just around this one standard. Yes, all these other things may come to play, but for this lesson at this time, we're only going to look at this one standard. So the Common Core, you don't have to do this at all right now. So forget about going to the Common Core. We'll talk about Common Core later on in this um, LPA. So you've got the grade level down here, which is fine. And now you have to write the objective. So if we decide that the students are going to identify this, that's the standard that we're going to be using. Then down here in the content objective, I have to write a statement talking about what the student will be able to do. This is the measurable evidence of understanding and mastery that I'm going to see or be able to assess that the students understand what the point of this lesson is. So just so I'll remember what the standard is, I'm just copying the standard here. You do not do that. I did that just so I could remember what the standard is because I don't remember anything anymore. So now I'm going to write a statement that has that says what the students will be able to do by the time they finish this lesson. So I also need to give it a context. So since I decided that they're going to identify titles and authors of a reading selection, I could say something like, given the book, this is called the context. Given the book, um, Charlie and the oh I know excuse me. Given the book James and the Giant Peach. James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. Students STUD will be able to identify the title and the author when doing a book walk. Book walk is a kind of strategy. So now I know for this lesson, I'm going to do a book walk. The students are going to we're going to be using this book, James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl, that's the author. And I know that the students are going to be able to identify the title and the author of this book. So that is how you write an objective. So now that I've written that objective, I've saved it. I hope I saved it. And now I'm going to close it. I don't know where my changes went. I don't know where it went. I'm going to cancel out. I don't know why it did that, so I'm just going to cancel out. I think it won't let me keep that on there because this is your document. So let me put it in the comment section. That way I know you'll be able to refer back to it. Given the book, James and the Giant Peach, the students will be able to IDENTIF the title and the author during a book walk. Okay, so we'll add the comment here. I still don't know why I didn't add, but I'm just going to continue on. Okay, so the comment did whatever it did. Now you're going to talk about the class information. Here, you're going to describe your class in detail. Who you have in the class, how many boys, how many girls, what the learning challenges are, the demographic, socioeconomic demographic, everything you could possibly learn about your students. And it's important that that information be clear and concise. It takes a long time to do it the first time. But after you've done it once, you can just cut and paste that information on all subsequent lesson plans. The reason you want to do this is because you need to describe the class so you'll know who you're teaching. You cannot teach whom you do not know. So this allows me to make sure and allows you to make sure that when you design a lesson, you're designing the lesson to meet the needs of the kids. Okay, so you've already talked about the different considerations you have. So if you have EL learners, gifted learners, and you know their interests and aspirations, you should be able to write that down here. Because if you say that's your considerations, I need to see evidence of that here. Okay, so now you're going to write down what do you anticipate for adapting for these children. So if you have an EL learner, what do you think you might have to do? Excuse me, what do you think the anticipated difficulties will be in this lesson for your children who are learning English? What do you think will be difficulties for your children who are gifted and talented? And what do you think, if any, do you anticipate difficulties regarding interests and aspirations? You know, if you're talking about a girly book and you're talking to a bunch of boys, that might be an issue. So you describe here what you think will be the difficulties in this lesson teaching the kids that you wrote about here. Okay. After you've done that, then you go to making the adaptations. So you should have an adaptation checkbox. I don't know where that is on here, but I do know about the response. And so you check the adaptations that you would make. And I know it allows you to, there should be a drop down box here, but I don't see where I can open it over here. There should be something for edit, but there's a drop down box that gives you some information that you can select, like wait time or um, IEP or whatever that is, that of the adaptations you're going to make. And then you describe what those adaptations are going to look like in the lesson here. So then after you've done that, you then come here, and this is where you find your 20th century skills, and this is for us the Common Core. So they're usually the four: critical thinking, um, critical problem solving, collaboration, and communication. You only have to deal with those four at this time. Then you have the assessment. There should be a box that allows you to open up what the assessments will be, the kind of assessment, formal, informal, that you are going to do in this lesson. And then you're going to write a description of that assessment. If you say it's informal, it's going to be what what you're going to observe the children do. Then you have to describe that. Let's say during the book walk, you'll say, I will ask the students to point to the title and then repeat the um, the title after me. That's it. So if the students can do that, then that's your measure for mastery. That's what you're going to use for the assessment. Down here now, you'd write down whatever materials you're going to need in order to conduct this lesson. And then this is the three parts that this is very important. This is where you're actually going to narrate how you're going to teach this lesson. So if I'm going to do a book walk, I'm going to write down here, I'm going to open the, and you write it like a script, what you're going to do to hook the children in. How are you going to get them involved with this book and learning about the title and the author's name rather than to just say, here's the book, here's the title, here's the author. So here's the hook. So you describe in the edit, you describe what it is you're going to do. Then the body is the lesson. This is where you're actually going to teach, and you need to write down, I'm going to say to the kids this, and then I expect the children to say that. They're going to be sitting on their rugs in a particular way, and I'm going to have them talk to their partners after I ask them questions. Or we're all going to have a book, or whatever that's going to be. You need to narrate that. There needs to be a lot of information here, here, and here. And here is how you close the lesson. And in the close, it's really where you begin to look to see how do you wrap up a lesson so the children know that it's over, but they also, you are able to identify through the course of the lesson, did they master what you wanted them to master? Then after you teach the lesson, you go ahead and you write your response here. So in this particular area has to have a lot more information in it. I know this is your first time doing a lesson plan, but if you keep this tape, I think it'll be very helpful for you, and you may be able to for all your future lesson plans. So thanks very much, and I'll get this to you. Good night.